Do you all believe that there are actual witches out there? Now, I'm not talking about the ones that do the healing and the crystals and the ones that I feel like are like good souls. I'm talking about something that you would see on TV that's fictional, like those shapeshifters, the ones that can control darker things, those that use that to manipulate and to control and to bring harm onto others. Or do you think that those out there are trying to seek something higher than what we know, and that maybe we're just misinterpreting things? Well, in many cultures they have their own versions and legends and tales of witches, and when to be cautioned of what you let into your home and when you don't let things into your home. Let's go to the other side. Welcome back to the other side. I'm your host ASOS. Thanks for joining me and talking about spooky, ooky, kooky stuff. I hope that this video, you will share it. You will make sure that you are subscribed, that you do like the video. I do have social media, that you follow me on TikTok, that you guys follow me on Instagram, that you guys comment down below. So today I was really debating on my video, which is why I did not get one out last week either, because I was trying to figure out, like, for me personally, it's not just about putting videos out to put videos out. Like, I don't do that. Like, I put videos out because I get inspired by these things. And it's things that I like to talk about, and it's things that bring me joy. And the paranormal is something that brings me a lot of joy. I am somebody who has had a lot of paranormal experiences and has seen a lot of things. So I truly do believe in this. And again, I was just having like a very difficult time figuring out what to do. Um, but I had come across a lot of videos on social media, and I kind of want to do a deep dive about this because I feel like with the technology that we're given, we're able to share these paranormal videos on a more, like, I feel like it's like a casual thing. It's like you're just scrolling and then you're getting like 10 seconds of like a voice, a face, a shadow, a this, a that. You get all this different stuff on social media, but nobody really dissects it. Nobody questions it. Nobody sits there and says, is this real anymore? People are just so numb to everything nowadays and so desensitized that when we come across these paranormal videos, we just take it with a grain of salt. We're like, all right, cool. Scroll to the next thing. Scroll to the next thing. And, that's not me though. When I see paranormal videos online, that is how I do get inspired to, make my TikToks that I make, get inspired to make my YouTube videos that I make. All of that does inspire me because I want to dissect these videos. I want to know what is behind this. You know what I mean? How real is it? Is it just AI coming out with these? Because I think that we haven't really dived into that yet. Or, what are we watching? Is it factual? Is it based on facts? Can we really see the validity in it or not? So one of the videos that I saw was a video from where I live, El Paso, Texas. And FitFam does this all the time, which I love FitFam. I do trust them. I do know that when they take videos, that they do what I do, which is they take things with a grain of salt and they want to make sure that what they put out to everybody is factual, especially because a lot of people rely on FitFam for their news. Like, we don't, here in El Paso, we don't really rely on the actual news sources for news. We rely on FitFam. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, let me check this out. Let me see what this video is all about. So I'm going to show you guys the video and we'll talk about it, okay? So in the video, you see that a family was hearing knocking at their door. That's a red flag, number one. Okay, I'm gonna keep saying this to everybody out here. If you hear knocking at your door past 11 p.m. at night, why would you open your door? Why? We have technology nowadays. Everybody has ring cameras. Everybody has, ways to see outside of their home. It's not one of those things where you don't have that access. So this family, hears knocking noises. They open the door and they have footage around their house because, again, a lot of people have security around, they have cameras. And as you guys saw, that there was this figure peeking out from around the back. And the police came. They tried to help the family out because they felt like somebody was there. Somebody was trying to get into their home. But when I look at that thing, I don't take it as it's an actual human. I take that as a witch. And that's when I clocked it immediately. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably overthinking this. You're probably reading too much into this. You probably are looking and judging based on looks. But I just got that feeling with the time being really weird and manipulated, with the knocking noises, again, with what it did look like and what it came across. To me, all three of those signs is a witch. It's a shape shifting witch that is going to bring harm onto that family, which is why when somebody knocks at your door, you do not open it. You just point blank period, don't open it. I have plenty of stories I could tell you why you should not open your door and why I believe this family is in harm. I'm going to tell you about these stories, okay? So the first one is when I lived in central El Paso, which is probably one of the oldest parts in El Paso. It's right by Austin High School. If you keep driving up towards Scenic Drive and everything, you'll eventually get to El Paso High, which is also another really old high school here in El Paso. When I was living in Central, I had like this feeling that the next door neighbor's house had some kind of presence in it, some kind of presence that I did not like. And that family actually went through some financial hard times. They filed for bankruptcy. They really went through it, and I felt that negative energy over where I was living at. And there was this one day that I was just sitting on the couch with my two dogs, and we started to hear the knock, 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 three knocks. And I knew, don't open that door. The dogs reacted. They got up, they started barking, they started reacting to the door. And the people I was living with was like, well, let's check the cameras. We have cameras. Nobody was outside. But even on the camera, and I wish I had the footage, man. I really should be keeping this stuff. Even in the footage, you hear the knocking noises. And I kept telling everybody, do not open that door. Something wants in. We do not open the door. We don't open the door, period. And I kept telling them that because, again, I just really felt like something wanted to come into the house. And I was like, no, no. My next one is living out in Socorro, Texas, which I feel like Socorro is a really old place. It's where, the conquistadors set up, and it has, the old Rio Grande when it would move back and forth. And it's a really, really nice place in El Paso. It's on the outskirts, it's its own city. And my grandma lives out there. And she told me this story of why she's very cautious about who she lets into her home. She said, I don't let just anybody into my home because of the fact that there was this one time that, she didn't care, about who she let into her home. My grandma's a very nice woman. And I don't say that just to say that. She is a very kind hearted person. She would cook Thanksgiving meal for us, for my grandpa's mom, and then she would also cook Thanksgiving meals for this lady who was blind. And that's just the kind of person that my grandma was. So she would do all this stuff for everybody. And she told me that one day after she had let a bunch of people into her home, she had hosted something, everybody had left. After that, they had horrible financial troubles. They were going through things. She said it was one of the hardest years of her life. And so they live in a trailer home that they built up into an actual home. It's really nice the way that they made these trailer homes into actual homes. And one day they had to go under the house because there was a plumbing issue, and they had to get down into the bottom of the RV to figure out what was going on. When they went down there, guess what they found? I'm going to pause. I'm going to dramatic pause because I want you guys to fester what they found at the bottom of their home. they found like my grandma said like it wasn't a doll, but that's like the appearance that it gave. Like it had like human hair attached to it, and it had sticks. It had all these symbols on it. It was just this weird little figurine thing that was at the bottom of their home, and my grandma knew somebody had come to place harm on her. Somebody had come into her home and placed this there for malicious intent. And she said, after that day, I stopped inviting people over. I started being very careful and very cautious of who do I let into my home, because not everybody that walks through the door is walking through the door with that kindness, with that respect of your space. And, with all those things, when I had seen that video from Fit Fam, I was like, you know, that is why also I went to that place when I was dissecting that video. I really want to reach out to the family and see if they would let us investigate and if they would let anybody really like talk to them about this. I tried digging on social media. Unfortunately, all of their accounts are private, so you have to send like a request message, which of course I did. But I don't know again if the family would be willing to have somebody investigate out there, because I really want to know like what is going on with the family. Is the family okay after this situation? Are they experiencing anything else? Do they feel like they did welcome this entity in? Have they had experiences prior to this? Is this the first incident that they have? Because the family immediately went to calling the police. That's where their mind went. Not my mind, though. My mind was like, oh, this is paranormal. And again, I can be logical, but I can also know when to call out the paranormal stuff. And I was like, red flag, red alert, y'all need to like do something about this, because that is wild. It's just wild. So I also want to tell you guys, when I say witch, I know that that term is loosey goosey. I know some people will hate me for saying that term because a witch is not a bad person. But like life, there's good, there's bad, and we have to understand that balance. And what I'm saying about this video again is the bad. The ones, because we live in El Paso, we're here on the border, and here we call them Brujas. And to me, those, it's rooted in indigenous culture, right? So both, I'm going to talk about both Mexican and indigenous culture because that's what has to do with this area. Both of them have the good witches, right? The good witches that use, traditional herbs, rituals. I even practice the good witch stuff. You know what I mean? Like when it's the beginning of the year, I'm the type of person to blow, cinnamon out my doors. I put coins at the front of my doors. I use rosemary to try to bless my house. I put salt everywhere around my house to try to get that negativity out of my home. I don't clean my home. New Year's Day, everything gets cleaned days before I clean, I organize, I throw everything away. I do a full cleanse of myself before I go to the New Year. So I'm very much the type of indigenous Mexican that does do very, traditional good witch types of things for good luck and to bring harmony and to basically do good. What I'm talking about is in Mexican and in indigenous culture, there are these brujas, there are these skinwalkers, there are these things that manipulate and they change shapes and they just put hexes, curses, negativity. There are so many stories out there of these types of people, and they do give an unfortunate bad rap to everybody else. And everybody else has to try to fight to get people to understand I'm doing good. I'm not doing those harming hexes or anything like that. I am just trying to, bring the positivity, not the negativity. And so here in the borderland, I feel like everybody is very spiritual. And we do have those deep bedded, rooted cultural ideas of what it is spiritually that could be out there, because we do have both of those that come into play. We do have both of those cultures to join together and also give us a different perspective on different things. So again, I really hope for the family's sake that they're okay. If they follow up with me, I'll let you guys know. I do want to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on this video. I'm going to show it one last time so that you guys can really think about what your opinions are. Let me know down in the comments if you guys are from El Paso. Have you guys ever experienced anything like that? Do you guys believe more of the Mexican indigenous culture views of witches and everything? Or do you have a more European style thought process with that, which I didn't really get into, but that's because of the region that we are in and where I'm talking about. We went to the other side. This was spooky, ooky, ooky, kooky time, and I hope that you guys have a very wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Goodbye.